Hi, hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss one of the important verdict given by Bombay High Court with respect to GST on intermediary services. The important question involved is whether section 13(8)(b) of the IGST Act is constitutionally valid. So this is a split verdict given by Bombay High Court, case of Dharmendra M. Jani versus Union of India and others. Justice Ujjal Buyan, he is in the favor of the petitioner and he mentioned that this is not constitutionally valid. It is ultra vires of the constitution. Whereas Justice Abhay Ahuja, he said this is constitutionally valid, therefore it is intra vires of the constitution, the section 13(8)(b) etc. So as I mentioned, the division bench of Bombay High Court has rendered a split verdict whether section 13(8)(b) and 8 subsection 2 of the IGST Act are ultra vires of the Constitution of India and section 9 of the CGST Act. We will deal with these sections very detailed and we will also discuss the relevant articles of the Constitution of India. If you look at the facts of the case, there is a principal who is located outside India and our petitioner is providing some marketing and promotion services to the principal, and based on this marketing and promotion there are some customers in India who are placing the order to principal directly, and the purchase orders are directly sent to principal. Money is also paid directly to principal, and upon receipt of money from the customers in India, principal is paying some commission to intermediary. Now the question involved here is whether the service rendered by this intermediary or petitioner, which is in the nature of marketing and promotion services, will qualify as an export of service. To qualify as an export of service, there are 5 conditions, and one of the important condition mentioned in the definition is the place of supply should be outside India. Now when you look at place of supply provisions section 13(8)(b), it says that place of supply in case of intermediary services shall be location of the supplier or intermediary. Now since the location of the supplier or intermediary is in India, the place of supply would become in India. Now since both the location of the supplier and place of supply are in the same state, now as per section 8 subsection 2 of the IGST Act, will it be treated as an intrastate supply, and therefore whether it is subject to CGST and SGST in India. Now when we look at section 8 subsection 2, it says that with respect to supply of services where the location of the supplier and the place of supply of services are in the same state, it shall be treated as intrastate supply, and therefore CGST, SGST should be applicable. If any one party, whether supplier or recipient, is located outside India, then we have to refer section 13 and not section 12. Section 12 has to be referred in case when both the supplier and recipients are in India. But since the principal is outside India, we have to refer section 13. Now when we go to section 13 subsection 8, place of supply for the following services shall be the location of the supplier of services, namely B, intermediary services. So it was very specifically mentioned in section 13(8)(b) clearly that for intermediary services the place of supply will be the location of the supplier only. Now since the location of the supplier is in India and place of supply is also in India and both are in the same state, therefore section 8 subsection 2 says it should be treated as intrastate supply, and therefore CGST and SGST is applicable. Now when we look at relevant constitution provisions, article 245 talks about extent of laws made by parliament and by the legislatures of states. Parliament may make laws for the whole or any part of the territory of India. So there is no power in the constitution to tax a transaction which is taking place outside the territory of India, and no law made by the parliament shall be deemed to be invalid on the ground that it would have extraterritorial operation. And if the law is made by the parliament, then that will be deemed to be valid even though it would have some extraterritorial operation. Moving on to Article 269A of the Constitution, levy and collection of goods and service tax in course of interstate trade or commerce. This article empowers the central government to levy taxes in the course of interstate trade or commerce, and as per Article 269A 5, Parliament may by law formulate the principles for determining the place of supply. So Parliament has the powers to determine the place of supply. When a supply of goods or services or both takes place in the course of interstate, that can be determined by Parliament by law. So Parliament has two important powers. One is to formulate the principles determining the place of supply, and when the transaction or supply will be treated as interstate trade or commerce, that also can be decided by the Parliament by law. Now moving on to Article 286, restrictions as to imposition of tax on the sale or purchase of goods. No law of state shall impose tax on the supply of goods or services where such supply takes place in the course of the import of goods or services or both, or export of goods or services or both out of the territory of India. So state does not have any power to levy a tax on the export of goods or services or both out of the territory of India. So this is very clear. State cannot tax a transaction which is in the course of import or export of goods or services or both out of the territory of India. Now moving on to relevant arguments of the petitioner. Petitioner is saying that levy of tax on export of service is ultra vires of Article 246A, read with Article 269A and Article 286 of the Constitution of India. A parliamentary law cannot have extraterritorial operation. So they are saying that Parliament cannot make any law which is having an extraterritorial operation. It should make law for any transaction covered within India. It cannot make a law for some extraterritorial operation. Section 8 subsection 2 and section 13(8)(b) of the IGST Act are ultra vires the charging section in section 5 of the IGST Act, as also section 9 of the CGST Act. So it says both these sections, section 8 subsection 2 and section 13(8)(b) are ultra vires of the charging section of IGST as well as CGST Act. GST is a destination based tax on consumption. Therefore, services provided by a service provider in India to a service receiver located outside India, which is treated as export service, cannot be taxed. So they are saying that GST is a destination based tax, and the destination in this current case is outside India, since the recipient is located outside India. Therefore, this is clearly an export of service. You cannot tax this transaction by merely mentioning a deeming fiction in the law saying that the location or the place of supply will be inside India. This is a deeming fiction which has been inserted in the GST law, which is ultra vires of the Constitution, because you are making a law on extraterritorial operation. You cannot tax something which is happening outside India, which is an export of service. Therefore, this is ultra vires of the Constitution. Other similarly placed services are all treated as an export of service. Therefore, section 13(8)(b) is violative of Article 14. So it clearly says, since other placed services are all treated as export of service, only treating this particular service as local place of supply is inside India and taxing this particular transaction is not correct. Now, on one side, India is levying IGST on this commission received by the petitioner, not treating it as an export of service, and on the other side, in the importing country, he is paying reverse charge and he is paying taxes on the same transaction. Now there is a double taxation which is happening on the one single transaction. Therefore, they should not be taxed. Globally, intermediary services are treated as export of services and are not taxed. The petitioner also says that globally, intermediary services are treated as export of service and they are not taxed. Now, when you look at the arguments of department says even under the pre-GST regime, the place of supply in case of intermediary services has been the location of the intermediary. So it is not only in the GST regime, even in the service tax regime also, it has been always the location of the intermediary. The services are actually performed and enjoyed at the place where the intermediary is located. Where is he performing these services? He is performing these services in India and getting the customers in India, and therefore this is rendered in India. Therefore section 13(8)(b) is constitutionally valid. If place of supply for all intermediary services were to be the location of the recipient, such supplies would go outside the tax net. Taxing services provided by intermediaries would incentivize FDI, and hence such taxation is in consonance with Make in India program. So the department is also saying that if you tax the intermediaries, then it would incentivize the foreign direct investment. People will come and invest in India. Therefore, this taxation is also in consonance with Make in India program. And department also says that intermediary services are not export of services within the meaning of section 2 subsection 6 of IGST Act, as all the 5 conditions are not satisfied because the place of supply is in India. The principal would be eligible to claim deduction in respect of services received from the petitioner. Hence, there is no question of double taxation. So, the principal would be eligible to claim deduction in respect of services received from the petitioner. Therefore, there should not be any question of double taxation. An identical challenge was decided by Gujarat High Court in Material Recycling Association of India versus Union of India. The same should be uniformly followed throughout the territory of India. So, in the Gujarat High Court, it is in favor of department, and you should also give in favor of department now, because it should be uniformly followed throughout the territory of India. This is the argument of department. Now let us look at what Justice Ujjal Buyani has said. He said section 13(8)(b) is ultra vires the constitution. He said the constitution does not empower imposition of tax on export of services out of territory of India by treating the same as local supply. Now this he is agreeing with the views of the petitioner, and he is saying that levying tax on export of services which are out of territory of India is not as per constitution, and therefore it is ultra vires of the constitution. If the extraterritorial operation is to subserve an object which is related to something in India, then that is understandable. But it is inconceivable that a law should be made by the parliament in India which has no relationship with anything in India. This is something where there is no relationship with anything in India. By artificially creating a deeming fiction in the form of section 13(8)(b) of the IGST Act, the place of supply has been treated as the location of the supplier in India. So by creating this deeming fiction in section 13(8)(b), you are treating an export of service as a local transaction, and you are taxing this beyond your power, which is not there in the constitution. Therefore, section 13(8)(b) is ultra vires of the constitution, and this section 13(8)(b) runs contrary to the scheme of CGST Act as well as the IGST Act, besides going beyond the charging section of both the acts. Also, he said the extraterritorial effect given by way of section 13(8)(b) has no real connection or nexus with the taxing regime in India. It runs completely counter the very fundamental principle on which GST is based. GST is a destination based consumption tax as against the principle of origin based taxation. So this is fundamentally against the principle of GST, and this extraterritorial effect given by section 13(8)(b) has no real connection or nexus with the taxing regime in India. In India, it is always destination based taxation under GST. Therefore, this section 13(8)(b) has no connection or nexus with the taxing regime in India. Insofar as the decision of the Gujarat High Court in Material Recycling Association of India, which decided an identical challenge, judgment of one High Court is not a binding precedent on another High Court. Just because there is a favorable judgment in Gujarat High Court, I cannot give favorable judgment to department when something which I feel is unconstitutional. And according to me, it cannot be a binding precedent on this High Court to follow what Gujarat High Court has said. It cannot be a binding precedent on the other High Courts. Not challenging the place of provision of service rules 2012 can be no valid ground for not suiting the petitioner from instituting the present challenge. No, just because somebody has not challenged the place of provision of service rules 2012, you cannot say he cannot question the place of provision under GST. Now, moving on to the verdict by Justice Abhay Ahuja. Justice Abhay Ahuja has clearly said that section 13(8)(b) is intra-virus the constitution. It is not ultra-virus. Law has the power to tax this particular transaction. Now, with respect to challenge to validity vis-a-vis Article 246A, 269A and 286 of the Constitution of India, Justice Abhay Ahuja is of the opinion that the legislature has enacted a specific provision defining what is intermediary service, and to govern intermediary services in section 13(8)(b), the question of application of general provisions of section 2 subsection 6 of export of service would not arise. A conjoint reading of Article 269A1 with Article 269A5 and Article 246A exclusively empowers the Parliament to make law on what is interstate supply and what is not interstate supply. The power to enact provisions determining the nature of supplies, whether interstate or intrastate, or determining the place of supply, originates from these articles. Once the Parliament has in its wisdom stipulated the place of supply in case of intermediary services, no fault can be found with the provision by artificially attempting to link it with another provision to demonstrate constitutional or legislative infraction. So Parliament in its own wisdom stipulated the place of supply in case of intermediary services. Once it is stipulated, no fault can be found with the provision by artificially attempting to link it with another provision to demonstrate constitutional legislative infraction. All that section 13(8)(b) does is to provide for place of supply in respect of intermediary services where the service recipient is outside India to be the location of the supplier of services. Therefore, there is no question of extraterritorial legislation here. Parliament is empowered to talk about determine the place of supply, and they have rightly determined the place of supply. Now, with respect to challenge to validity vis-a-vis in respect of charging sections under CGST Act, when the Constitution has empowered the Parliament to formulate the principles determining the place of supply, section 13(8)(b) cannot be said to be ultra-vires the charging section. Section 13(8)(b) and the respective charging sections operate in different fields, and with respect to challenge to validity vis-a-vis double taxation, the two taxes which are separate and distinct imposed on two different transactions or supply is permissible as in law. There is no overlapping. The commission paid by the recipient would generally be entitled to deduction in foreign country, and therefore it would not be a case of double taxation. Now, since there is a divergence in opinion, this matter has been placed before Chief Justice of Bombay High Court. And if you look at Gujarat High Court decision, the constitutionality of section 13(8)(b) was earlier upheld, and this decision has kept open the scope for considering representations made by the petitioner. Since Justice Ujjal Bhuyan is in the favor of the petitioner, it has also kept open the scope for considering representations made by the petitioner also. And if you look at Justice Abhay Ahuja's verdict, it is clearly upholding the Gujarat High Court decision. In my view, since the power to determine the place of supply is with Parliament, Parliament can determine the place of supply, and they have the freedom to determine whether it is inside India or outside India. And in this particular case, They have clearly said that this is within India, and I agree with the judgment given by Justice Abhay Ahuja.